we just want to draw your attention to our little friend over here, Stanley Minico. As we said, folks, in our last video, our good friends at Cosmic Comics have been kind enough to donate that little Stan Lee to us and to our podcast here. And we thought we'll share the love.
And give it away. So if you want to stand a chance at winning this bad boy,
make your way over to the Cosmic Comics Facebook page and hit like. Start sharing the love and the likes for them and their page. And we specifically want you to find the Stan Lee post on their page for that Minico Stan Lee figure. When you do, please just tag either Mark, myself, or both of us, if you're feeling generous in that, just so we can get your name there. And that's the first stage of your entry into our competition. Part 2, we want you to find the Asylum Pod page on Facebook. And if you haven't already, please just hit like there. And again, on any of our video posts or anything that we've shared there, just comment, tag Mark or myself so we can get your name for the second time. And third, and finally, again, guys, if you want the statue, it's a very cool little statue. You're going to have to work for it. Third and finally, make your way over to the Asylum Pod YouTube channel. Please subscribe, smash that button for us, share the love, share it with your friends and family, even if it's just to get more entries into the draw. But subscribe to the channel, and then please just comment on any of the Stan Lee posts, any of the videos that have us referencing this guy. That would be this one and any of the previous ones. Again, so we can get your name for the third time, pop you into our draw, and we'll take it from there. And if you want more than one entry, then comment on more than one of the videos with Stan Lee. So, what's the story? Morning Glory.
hello.
Oh, I think I put that up too high. It'd be interesting if I do anything else there.
How's it going?
Yeah, man, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. Feels like it's been a while since we've been in here. No.
It does actually, hey? And it probably has been a couple weeks, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we said Timmy's birthday recently. Timmy, Timmy. And I'm sure we had another weekend prior where we didn't do anything or see each other. And I actually forgot how much I enjoyed not seeing you. Huh. We're going to love our friends rag on each other.
Good job, man. There's been like a ton of comic news from what I can tell. I don't know if I'll remember all of it, but I mean, recording this now as we speak, it'll obviously go out later, but it's DC Fandome tonight in South Africa.
That's cool. You were saying that's that live...
Yeah, so it's like, it's basically they put together a thing of their own Comic-Con, which is going to happen for 12 hours straight. And there's just going to be announcements, everything from comic-related stuff to movie-related stuff to games. They suspect there's going to be a new game or two released. There's even
like
surprise
Arkham
stuff.
Type game?
Yeah. And then what is really cool is they've thrown together a teaser, and even the one part that's just like this random clip of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, smiling. So they suspect there's going to be Black Adam news even.
Nice.
Which has been a long time coming.
Can you smell what the Rock's been cooking?
And yeah, man. So I think it's going to be exciting for everyone. I think it's going to be one of those. You know, we've talked about this how it's like it's just not the same because no one can be at cons in person and stuff. Yeah. But I do think the DC, from what I can tell, I mean, advertising is everything. But
yeah, sure.
It does seem like it's going to be a lot of stuff people are waiting on. They even. I know you're maybe not as excited, but they've released like the logo. I don't know if you've seen the imagery of the new Batman film.
I have not, and I am not excited for that film.
I like that, but they're saying they might release some footage, give some people like a taste of something to see. Yeah, and then there's the other news where
on Batman.
Yeah, where Ben Affleck is signed to be in the Flash movie. So,
which I think is quite cool because in the Justice League movie, he is the guy who finds Barry Allen, the Flash, and they have that little moment together. So yeah, I think that's quite cool from a continuity kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting rumors that are going around that where apparently it's going to be Ben Affleck walking out after, like they're going to give him an official send-off. But now people saying he's not going to die. I'm not so sure that, they might try to pull like a Tony Stark MCU on us, paid off. Because if you look at it, The one thing I am scared for is if you look at the parallels of Barry Allen and well, most superheroes and Batman lost their parents.
Yeah.
Well, Barry Allen just his mother, but anyway. So it's going to be like this mentoring thing. So I don't know if it's going to be this like
almost like Tony Stark with the young Spider-Man kind of thing.
kind of.
Okay.
And apparently he had a few conditions, but now it's in. And now Michael Keaton's even in it. So, but apparently they're not going to do. He's Batman.
Keaton's
he's physical
in Flash.
Batman. Yeah, he's physical, actual Batman.
Unless it's some kind of Flashpointy thing where he's going.
So they say it's going to be a Flashpointy thing, but apparently they're not doing the Thomas Wayne storyline. They're going to do their whole own sort of thing.
Okay. Maybe it's alternate universe Batman.
Well, they are. They're big rumors that they're going to now push the multiverse thing in the Flash film. So it's apparently it's going to be a very important film, and they're hyping it up.
It actually brings me back to we had a chat about this where we were talking about potentially as how you could have the Snyder cut existing in the same sort of thing as the Whedon version. It would just be two different multiverses where the story kind of similar but different. So
Yeah, no, exactly. Another thing on that, like, I mean, there's been more Snyder news, which I won't go on too much about, but what's interesting, dude, you remember vaguely the theater cut. And what's interesting, apparently Snyder's storyline, Ray Fisher, Cyborg, apparently he is such a big integral part of the film. Like, he's apparently like supposed to be the what's the metaphorical heart of the film because he's so linked to the mother box.
Okay.
And he's supposed to be in his cut, he's literally the guy that almost brings them all together. And remember in the theatrical cut, like literally Wonder Woman has to like drag him and be like, no, come, you be a hero.
part of this, that kind of falls more in line with the Jeff Johns retelling of that Justice League. The Cyborg is quite integral in all of that there because of his, again, the mother box tie-in.
So, and apparently, like they've all got like way bigger backstories. Like it's these flashbacks to his football history, which you saw in the first trailers before Snyder left. And apparently, there's like they've released some photos.
Well, that was the whole thing. Was his dad was like never there for any of his games, etc. There was a bit of resentment between him and his dad, and when that whole thing happens to Vic, it's his dad's ultimate Hail Mary to try and not only save his son but save their relationship. Is doing that whole merger with the mother box. Interesting. Okay.
Man. So I'm keen. I'm gonna see if I can sit up tonight and.
What's interesting on that though is this is coming off the back of DC recently retrenching. No, not just DC. It must be said it's the entire Time Warner group, Warner Brothers, Time, the magazine / newspaper, DC themselves. I think across the entire group they said 800 plus. People were retrenched, lost their jobs,
rough,
contracts terminated.
I mean, I was just chatting to you about it with that one Hellblazer. I can't remember who the writer is within the Sandman universe, and he said he's gutted, but it's like issue 12 and it's ending.
Yeah.
And I think so many like Hellblazer fans were so angry because every run gets to like around 12 issues besides volume 1.
Correct.
Like, and it's just like, oh, that's canon. And it's like, and you'd think with the popularity growing of the Justice League Dark.
Definitely.
Again, there's been even, I know we'll dive more back into that, but there's been now more rumors that Keanu Reeves is the confirmed Constantine of the, and we've already talked about how we feel about that.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit like, but
I think Matt Ryan's being hard done by there.
yeah, 100%, dude. Like we said this, I love Keanu, but Matt Ryan is like
He is Constantine. 100%.
So we can fan speculate and cast on all the other characters, I suppose.
Well, and what I was actually, the point that I was making was I was watching some podcasts or some things that were leading up to and mentioning DC Fandome coming, and they were saying like it's a bit of a odd hot potato because at least half of the content that they're going to show is people that are now retrenched, not there anymore, etc. And it was all pre-recorded stuff that they had done, talking about various things or just presenting a little thing that's going to be part of a panel. And half of those people are all gone now.
Jeez. There's one interesting tidbit, I don't know if you know this, it's really cool. They had a small video on it, but the virtual reality set, because obviously it's pre-recorded. I don't know if you know, so wherever the people are going to be standing, talking and stuff, that all was sculpted and drawn by Jim Lee. He drew, like, he created the stadium that like these heroes like live in. That, and they've obviously like brought it to life and made it all 3D and stuff, but he did the original artwork behind it and stuff.
That is pretty cool. And when you got a big gun like Jim Lee sitting there for you, of course. And he stayed. Apparently, I've heard he hasn't had...
Yeah, his title's like been shifted. It's a more general sort of...
So he hasn't been promoted or demoted. Almost lateral shift. Someone else is coming in to do what he was doing. And yeah, I'm going to say industry in general, I'm worried. I'm curious because a lot of what I've been seeing and reading, etc., this is all coming off the back of low sales volumes. A lot of titles not doing well. DC taking a decision to reconcile everything. And I saw one of those things. I think you shared it. At least 20 something different titles, all just canned wherever they are. The big ones will always stay. I think Supes, Action Comics, Detective, Batman, those ones will always go. But everything else
that's even just that's what I think for the longest time, dude. You get this thing where I've got some mates. I'm sure you do. They work for these really big corporate companies. There's a lot that flies under the radar that doesn't make them money, but but they don't notice it because it's like billions they're dealing with. And It's like the few 100,000 that's just being like. And I think what COVID did is they went, stop. Yes. We need to go dig dive. And these poor titles that were maybe just making it through for fans and stuff now are just like,
gone. Yeah. What I have seen and heard is DC's going to reconcile a lot of their printing in general. So there's a lot of talk about, is DC going to go more digital on all of these singular things? Because apparently, according to numbers and stuff, that their digital sales in their own app and on like Comic Collector and those kinds of things are doing pretty well, apparently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then there's another one that I heard. Something like apparently IDW are negotiating with DC. I don't know if they're done negotiating or if it's ongoing, but apparently DC are saying like a lot of the stuff that they were doing, reprints of certain things, omnibuses, certain collected stories, all of that stuff. DC there's talk around, they're going to just say, we're not doing that anymore. We're just going to do original graphic novel kind of things. And any of our old catalog stuff is going to be taken over by IDW to do and bring out, because already IDW does a lot that nobody really thinks about. A lot of the artist editions that come out, and we'll talk about one just now. Actually, that's like IDW or a sub print of IDW. All the Turtles type of reprints and that IDW. Apparently, even the Marvel artist editions and some of these. I'm actually getting a lot of these Marvel collected art books, and a lot of them it's like IDW linked and other printers. Yeah. So Marvel and them don't do it. They just that someone gets an idea. I don't know which side of the fence it comes from, and Marvel go, well, no, we're not going to do it ourselves, but you're more than welcome to. We'll take our cut, but off you go. Print the thing, get it into circulation, and on the back of that, why I'm really stressing the graphic novel point is apparently last year's sales, more than 60, close to 70% of comic book sales were graphic novels, hardcovers, omnibuses, reprints, etc. And small percentage was actual singular comics, which is, again, why this talk is going around. Is DC going to make that shift and say, minimum singles, like maybe the main ones will still go in singles, but everything else, no. Digital or TP, just original graphic novel.
Because, I mean, it's an interesting thing you've mentioned, dude, and I've mentioned this in length a couple of times, but it's a generational thing, dude. At some point, digital's going to be normal. It's not normal to us. We've grown up with these physical...
Yep.
And Stanley makes the classic joke that it's like boobs, the real thing are always better. But I do think at some point it's going to, like, a kid's going to be like, why must I have this separate book when I can have it on my phone or my iPad? It's just going to be so automatic for them.
Correct. And in a way, it's a semi-good thing, because a lot of those old original comic books from the 40s, the 50s, etc., those are just going to skyrocket in value then, because if they're not really printing singulars anymore, whatever's out there in the market will slowly gather more and more value over time.
Yeah.
So potentially good for some of the collectors.
I've been waiting, dude. I don't know if there is something like this already. Probably in the States there are, but I'm waiting for someone to make like a comic museum. And if it's not available yet, I think it will come, where everyone's got like, it's like...
There are, I don't know if there's an actual like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know there are various museums. I know there's a Frank Frazetta art museum that the family put together over in England. I know that there is a Jack Kirby one that they recently launched or were launching. And I'm sure it was on Sci-Fi. I saw something there where the main guy was interviewing various guys, Cubit, the Cubit Senior, Ramita Senior, those kinds of guys, and talking about their legacy. And I think it was all linked to a museum of sorts that was going to go up. But I know there are individually run ones, but it'll be, it's definitely, the world needs that. An amalgamated.
And like it's obviously we'll have the key issues, but it's not about that only. It's just literally about the history. You can make it like a whole image section, and they're going to be really cool.
I think it'd be awesome if there were, and it would probably be like the Mona Lisa on display if they had like an Action Comics one, a Detective 27.
Yeah, they'd have to.
In special viewing cases, and you could, like, there it is, it's in front of you, see it,
Because I mean, they could even, when guys that own those that are on the level that they are, they could probably make an agreement with it,
Sure.
that the museum
Have it on display.
hands X amount of security, it's insured, and they'll let them display their comics and stuff. The handful of people that have got those, so
Definitely, yeah.
that'd be rad.
It would be, and I think it's. I believe that now it is the modern day stories, the modern day hero, almost like the Iliad, almost like, I don't want to say biblical, but it is the modern day pantheon of heroes and our fables in a way, just like what all the Brothers Grimm stories were from way back when. Modern day comic books and all the heroes that you find, that's definitely the equivalent
the way
of.
they've stood the test of time, dude, like, and been reiterated in so many different ways and still are current. It's
Exactly. So I think a museum is warranted, and definitely something that could be interesting for folks to go and see. And if they do it right, showcase the various stages of bringing a comic book together. A lot of snapshots of the guys of old sitting in those bullpens in like sweaty vests and whatever on top of each other, just drawing, crunching out issues, to the more modern stuff where you could literally even have some live guys sitting there on tablets plotting and bringing together various things, then literally like zipping that file off to a colorist.
I'm actually like, there's so many ideas, especially if you get like a big American company that really does something with it. But you can even, it's at every tourist attraction where you get these kind of things, and then you get the photos, and then they can do photos in a comic, sort of like looking, so you like at the comic museum, but it's like a comic book.
Well, you get apps and that on the iPad now that puts it into comic panels for you. You just put the photos where you want them in a comic panel backgrounds and stuff. So it'll be fun.
US tourism, just like we want royalties for this idea.
I think it's definitely needed. It's that big. It's that important. And it could be a literal journey through the history of it, right away to the films and landmark films showing snippets of the key actors that portrayed various characters and why they were so significant and all of that stuff. So I think it's definitely a good idea. I had something else that I wanted to mention there that I was watching. No, I think that's pretty much it. I did want to just mention that I am partly excited if everything does go graphic novel. It certainly suits our line of collecting. And even in that, there's, I mean, you've seen it, you're experiencing it yourself, where there's various formats of the graphic novel now, softback, hardcover, deluxe edition, omnibus, oversized, absolutes. So,
what I wonder though, man, is like, because we've talked about this. I mean, I'm somewhere in the middle. Well, you two are. We like collect our key issues of characters we like and stuff. And and I'm wondering if, because a lot of it is, I hate to say it, but false hype. They're trying, like, especially the new Venom books, there's like a new first appearance in almost every issue, and that like stinks of like sales technique to me.
Totally.
But so I'm wondering if trades are going to be like, oh, you got to get this trade, it's going to go up in value, because that's never been notoriously sort of a thing.
100% agree with you. The whole market has never viewed trade paperbacks by and large as collectible, and it's actually quite interesting and funny in and of itself, because I know of some essential editions that were coming out. Remember when they were reprinting all those things in black and white only? And there were certain essentials that had low print runs just due to lack of interest. And those are like hen's teeth to find, and guys are demanding stupid money. I was recently looking for I don't know what they call them. I think in the Spawn world, McFarlane reprinted Spawn 1 to 100 in absolute type size and format. And I think there's 4 volumes, so it's 25 issues in each practically. And I know 3 and 4 I can get my hands on. 2 difficult, and 1 apparently is like, if you look on Amazon or eBay and whatever, guys are looking for up to like $1,000 for that number 1. So yeah, the mindset originally was not really collectible. They don't go up in value, but as they do these things and as they go, well, we're done with this print run of this, and those things go out of print, so does the
I think a lot of people forget about that, about just the collector. You think what you want, but generally the most notorious things that have become collectibles literally have to come out, be determined as junk first, basically half get trashed, and then it gets popular again. And then now it's like hen's teeth to find.
Yeah.
That's generally like the timeline it follows. Yeah. And that's what the problem I have with these new things. It comes out, it's cool, and then it's all of a sudden collectible. I'm like, no, it hasn't gone through that aching sort of like...
100% right. It hasn't earned its collectible stripes yet, so to speak. No, totally, dude. There's a Supreme run that Alan Moore did, and to get those TPs, 2 volumes, also close to impossible. And that's partly because it's not currently in print. And the one step further is, with all this Alan Moore animosity to the industry, a lot of guys are going, will it ever come back into print? You know, I don't even know if that imprint is still existing. It was Rob Liefeld's imprint. I don't know if that is still going or if Rob folded it at some point. And even if it is still going, does he still have a relationship with Alan? If he had to approach him to say, I want to do another print run of them, would he agree? Wouldn't he? And that whole mysteria surrounding that has made those things worth an absolute fortune as well, because guys are going, they're probably not going to happen given Alan Moore's begrudged nature. So yeah, graphic novels, TPs the right ones could hold their value. There's certain ones though that just won't. Like, I think even if you've got an original printing, the first TP of The Watchmen, that thing's been in print for so long and gone through so many iterations and versions, it doesn't really matter. It's so easy to get your hands on that. So again, hit and miss, perceived as junk, low print run, whatever it is. Then suddenly the guy falls out of the industry. There's a gripe, or maybe wants too high a royalty on the reprint side, and they just go, well, then we're just not going to reprint these things. Any of those things are possible. It's going to be interesting, the industry going forward.
We'll wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, man. Before we do sign off on this one, though, I was digging around in my car, as I told you, and I found a whole bunch of random Simpsons cards. And I think get the GoPro so we can GoPro over some of these. And not just like a little bit, like 2 whole piles full of Simpsons cards. And I just thought we need to just... I'm not going to collect them. I've never collected them. And then on this side, there's some cool ones too. There's like an Itchy and Scratchy one there. I know that there's like Lisa. I saw a couple Barts, Homers. There are some duplicate ones in here. So, that's such a cool one. What I was going to suggest to one of our lucky viewers, watchers, whatever you want to class yourself as, devout, loyal fan and follower. How's that? Just comment on the comment section of this video. Say, I want, please, maybe because you're the biggest Simpson fan ever, or The Simpsons changed your life at some point, or you just really like the aesthetic. I don't mind, but just ask and we'll make a plan to get these cards to you, because I'm not doing anything with them.
And to the mysterious person out there they might belong to, we're sorry, I guess.
Just sitting in my car, and for the life of me, I don't know how they got there or who they might have belonged to, or there's every possibility that I just bought some person's card sets, and they were just in amongst all of that, and I just never had an interest for them and left them. So
cool. Go to a new good home. So
yeah, you never know.